I work with youth and teens in different levels, have had opportunities to really do high school ministry and talks. And I also run a program called Parenting Dialogues, which I host just sessions to have different conversations. But most importantly, I am born again, I'm a pastor, and I am a mother of 3, aged 19, 17, and 12. Thank you. Back to you, Francisca.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Terry, for that. And as you can see, she has a lot of experience, not just as a wisdom coach and a pastor and a HR professional, but also as a parent herself. So the information you're going to be getting from Terry is firsthand, because now she has children transitioning out of teenagehood. Thank you so much, Terry, for that. And then we go to Lillian. Lillian, if you could unmute and introduce yourself.
Hello. What an honor to be here. Good evening, everybody. My name is Lillian Mandu. I'm a life coach. I'm a neuro-linguistic practitioner. I'm an author. I'm formerly a teacher. That was my background at first before I joined coaching, and I've been here for the last 19 years, working with kids between 8 to 25, primary, high school, and university on various programs. Some kids have been attending for so many years. It can be a program after another, personalized, or those ones that are on board that I do for groups for between that age group. It ranges 8 to 25, working towards each child fulfilling their purpose in life with various topics on board: attitude transformation, purpose discovery, careers, anything to do with decision making and goal setting and attitude transformation. And a lot of those even that have been in rehabs very many times, they come in a short while of mental transformation, they're able to just go back and make sober decisions. Anything to do with career purpose transformation, emotional intelligence, it's the whole 9 year of ensuring that the youth are able to thrive. And I do a lot as well with corporate, and I've authored a book as well on designing your vision board, because my coaching as well came up as a product of being able to design a vision board that resulted into the coaching that I have today. And by God's grace, the results have been amazing, phenomenal, and nothing short of miracles. So I'm excited to be here to share a bit from that vast experience that I've had by God's grace. Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, as you can see, Lillian has so much experience. Even being an author, she's helped so many children with different struggles, including even addiction. So you know that you are in the right hands, because whatever struggles you have, our 2 panelists here are ready and eager to advise and help. And as I said, as we go through the discussions, feel free to put any comments or any questions you have on the chat. And we will jump into our first question, which goes to Terry, Pastor Terry. So Terry, you wear multiple hats, right? You are a pastor, you are a wisdom coach, you are a mom, you are a HR professional, you are a LinkedIn professional excellence guru with over 50,000 followers, speaking across multiple different platforms. And I'm wondering, with all of those different hats that you wear, how do they shape your approach to parenting of teens?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Francisca. I think one of the things I learned, especially when I did the kids coaching and being a professional, there are many things that we teach adults, we train adults out there, and in the workplace, I do trainings, just helping people bring the best version of themselves to work. And one of the things I thought about, one time I just had those light bulb moments, like we invest all this in the workplace, out there with people. I've done high school missions, mentoring others. Then I thought, why am I not using these skills on my own children, and how can I how can I be a better parent to my children based on the abilities God has given me and the fact that I'm able to do this for others. Why not my children? And I remember doing some coaching sessions. In fact, recently my daughter was asking me, Mom, when are you, giving us that coaching again? Because I did a whole series for my children of coaching. And that made a huge difference in the way we were communicating, in the way I was relating to my children. And I have used that over the years, even as they grow into their teenage years. People talk about how teens are rough and teens are, hard to deal with. I've really, by the grace of God, not experienced that with my teenagers, by the grace of God, because I take a coaching approach, even in dealing on or handling my teens who, I have two teenagers. One is about getting to adulthood, turning 20 next year, and the last one is 12, turning 13 next year. But the middle is a teen. So I have used that coaching approach in my parenting. I've used the skills I've learned over the years as a professional to also bring them and create that environment that is approachable, that my children can reach me, that my children can talk to me. They are free to ask any question and really just be themselves. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, you have. Thank you so much, Sherry. And I think that's actually that's very interesting, because a lot of us who spend so much time supporting our team, coaching them, guiding them, sitting down, finding out how they're doing. And you raise a very valid point there of, do we do this for our own kids? You put in so much time planning and helping your office and your team members to be able to grow in their role. Do you also why not do the same? Why not put the same investment on your kids as well and take the time to coach them, to create a plan for them? So I'm going to go to the next question on, we are in the digital age of technology, and what role has technology? You've had kids, you've gone through almost the full gamut. I think what's remaining now is the adulthood, just entering being a parent of an adult, right? So what role has technology played? Because your child is just joining university, so I'm thinking there's a point where technology wasn't as rampant as it is now, and then went to a point where it was extremely everyone needed to have a phone. In fact, kids have phone now, even in primary school. So what role has technology played in your approach to parenting your teens?
Thank you. That's a very good question, and it's a very wide topic. I think this is one topic I have had conversations with parents about, really, because we cannot do without technology. It's the trend now. Beginning from the COVID season, we had to give our phones, our children phones, laptops to be able to join classes. They have their own emails. They have, and some children are millionaires just engaging on YouTube. We have 9-year-olds who are millionaires on YouTube because of technology. And so, as a parent, our role is very critical in the way we handle technology with our children. One, for me, I've used it in communication. To date, my children all have phones, they have gadgets. And so we use that to communicate, especially when I'm out or like now my son is studying abroad in university. And there's an app I discovered, which I was introduced to by another parent of teenagers. Her children had just gone into high school, and she told me about Life 360, which is an app where you connect your entire family and you can track, like you can see where your children are or your family members are. So I am able to see my son. I can actually see him literally walking to class. It's very interesting. He's in the US and I'm here seated in Nairobi. But I can see my son going to class. I can see him going to to the hostels. I can see him when he leaves the school, he drives out. I can see that, like, it's a very easy app, and it has really, 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 been great. Now I really don't have to worry. I can just see, it's sort of monitor how my son is doing, Life 360. And so it's a positive thing. We do video calls with our children on their gadgets. Besides monitoring, there's a lot of education that our children access. We can share information with them. We can share skills development sites where they build their skills. My children are doing computers, including a 12-year-old. And so children can learn coding and actually add value to their lives now that technology is not going anywhere. But most importantly, I want to say, for us as parents, we role model our behavior to our children. So how we treat technology, our habits, if you're a parent who watches pornography, for example, our habits are what rub on to our children, and they are what will influence our children. If you spend most of your time as a parent scrolling on Facebook, on, wherever that's how you're spending your time, you come home, you're just on your phone throughout, those are the habits your children will pick. And so we must also look at how do we role model the right way to utilize that technology for our benefit in parenting our teens. Thank you. I think I'll pause there for now. Thank you. Back to you.
Awesome. No, thank you so much for that and for sharing about the Live 360 app. And I know there's always this concern about introducing technology to your kids, but I like what you said there about using it for skills development, using it for sharing information, even being in touch with your kids, maybe when they've traveled, they're visiting shushu, or the out with their friends. You can always talk to them and find out how they're doing. It brings a connection with your kids, which is amazing. And I would also be curious to hear for the other parents on the call, are there apps that you're using with your teens? Feel free to share the names on the chat as well, and different people can learn from each other. But then also importantly, you said kids mirror what their parents do. Even at teenagehood, they will do what you do, not do what you say. And so what that means is they would basically emulate what you're doing. So your technology habits will become their technology habits. So this is amazing. And again, if you have any questions regarding the discussion, please feel free to put it on the chat. We will have a session for Q&A. And Coach Lillian, I want to go to you. So the question I have is, what role do you feel childhood traumas play in parenting? And how can parents identify when they're reacting versus responding? So I know we're diving a little bit deep here, but I know you do a lot of social work, and there's a post you put around raising children who don't have to recover from their childhood. So as parents, we're probably healing some of our childhood wounds, but then how do you raise children who don't have to recover from their own childhood as well?
Thank you, Francisca. How do you raise kids that don't have to recover from childhood traumas? I would say it first begins by a parent who's very self-aware. Okay, because for the most part, it often feels like parents are just transferring the parenting templates that they inherited from their own parents, from their own experiences, from their own environments. And so subconsciously, you just transfer it, and you expect that the world kids are living in now will have to adjust to your old rules. And so over time, you find a child is becoming a misfit. They're feeling confused. They're feeling like they can't address between the world you're offering them and the world they're living in. And so over time, and at a subconscious level, the trauma begins to form slowly. And eventually, when they become teenagers and young adults, it begins to manifest because of what you unconsciously programmed in them. Okay. And so now, I would say to raise kids that don't have to recover from childhood traumas, it starts with the parent, because everything gives birth after its own kind. That's what the Bible says. Everything gives birth after its own kind. Okay, so you find that um, if you are raised in a lot of struggle, in a lot of luck, or maybe your parents were too permissive, I know what's happening. Somebody's muted my camera. It's happened on its own. Yeah, so deeply reflect. Okay, the first time I visited a coach, many years ago, when I was still 25 years, a Dutch lady, and after complaining a lot of things and also observing how I was doing things, and she asked me, Lillian, why do you feel you have to get meaning out of life by doing things? You're first a human being before you're a human doing. That was a lot for me to think about. You're first a human being before you're a human doing. And as we went through that first session, I really broke down. I mean, I cried. I didn't know I had so much baggage and issues that had been programmed in me from how I was raised by a very militant father and an extremely Kali mom. Okay, so as a firstborn girl, I just had to find relevance and some sort of acknowledgement when I'm doing something. I didn't realize I've grown up with this programming that you only feel like you're relevant when you're doing something, to a point that I was even pushing a lot of people that I was working with without knowing. And so I became such a hard driver. When give me any target, I would achieve it. But now when it came to being appraised on being a team player, I was getting the lowest. So when it comes to hitting targets, I'm the highest, most hardworking. But now, by the time we're hitting targets, people are not talking to me. I don't know when I stepped on somebody's toe. I don't know when I said something that was not very nice, you know. So all this had become coping mechanisms of how I grew up, based on also how parents raised me. And what brought me to a point of forgiveness is when I understood they didn't have any training, and they had just offered me a program that was also in their world. I was asked, Lillian, how do you expect somebody that has been the head of GSU and has been a lawyer and was raised by, grandmother selling alcohol? What kind of love and patience and listening and understanding would you expect from that? Did they pay for you school fees? Did they offer you everything that you need? I say, I got everything that I needed. I don't remember lacking anything, but the programming in me, how I was socializing, I was relating to people, had been a complete transfer of my own parents' type of upbringing as well. So start by being very conscious. I would say parents should take counseling as a lifestyle. Don't wait when there is a particular issue or when there's a red flag. This is not happening. Matter of fact, every holiday, April, August, December, there isn't a holiday, there isn't a day, including Saturday and Sunday, when I'm free. There's a child coming in today from Bungoma, Mombasa, the following day, and all that. But for the most part, after a parent has spoken to me, I end up wondering who should actually be sitting for the coaching. Should it be the parent or should it be the child? Because when I get deeper into the session, everything the child is and the challenges they're experiencing, for the most part, is usually in the environment of how they've been raised. Recently, a child wrote in her notebook, I don't trust my mother. I don't. There's a place where we get into and they just open up by themselves voluntarily. They write crazy things. So I have to ask for their permission to discuss some things through that. And so I don't trust my mother because she can just come in from work and start yelling. I don't know what she's yelling about.
What I got from what you're saying, just to paraphrase, maybe for those who didn't capture it, around deeply reflecting on your own life as a parent and being a human being instead of a human doing. You're a human being before you become a human doing. And also learning from healing your own childhood wounds and creating a safe environment for the kids. I think I got that, which is very passionate, which was very, very important there. And it actually brings me to my next point of, in terms of preparing your kids for the future and not missing out on those precious moments. It ties into what you're saying. So maybe we could, you could bring a little bit more here, because you're sharing about the girl and the parent and how they're juggling different things and creating a conducive environment for the kids. So let's try. Sorry, I hope the technical issue does not continue, but let's give it one more shot, Lillian.
So let me finish off with what I was saying about this child. It says, I don't trust my mom. She can just come in one evening and start yelling. And this is by a mom who, by the time the mom was bringing the daughter, she told me, Lillian, my daughter doesn't talk to me at all. I don't know what's going on in her mind. So here is the mom's telling me, I don't know what's going on in my child's life. She's very quiet on me. And here's the girl telling me, I don't trust my mom. So it's down to creating a different environment, and the onus was on me now to find a way to give the mom feedback, because she'll always be in the same house with that daughter, and they need now to change or maybe update the parenting pages so that how she was parenting at the age of 10 should not be the same way how she's at the age of 14, and how she can tone down and become more conscious that her yelling is actually the reason that the child is becoming more and more silent. And so if you're juggling so many things, it's a question of becoming very intentional. Let's say you have 3 or 5 kids. I was coaching 5 girls. So she made it very intentional, especially, and that came up in our coaching session, and asked her, what do your children think about your work? Okay, what do your children think? She told me, firstborn is just quiet. Secondborn told me, I'm only on the phone. I don't care about them. Thirdborn says this. The small one doesn't care. So I told her that one who's very quiet, the first one, is the one you need to be concerned about, not that one who's coming to tell you, Mommy, you're ever on the phone and all that. So we struck out a pattern where Monday, as soon as Mommy comes in, 30 minutes with firstborn, in the bedroom alone. How are we parenting you? Any concern on your heart? Is everything okay? What can we do more? Everything fine? And so Tuesday a different person, Wednesday a different person, and all that. We can just start by being intentional before we go into all family activities and family devotions and all those things. Everyone to feel they are valued and they have their own time. Guess what happened? The next time that lady returned for her coaching session, I asked her, how did that go? She told me, Lillian, day one, when I returned from work and I called my firstborn daughter, who was 22, firstborn daughter, to come to the room, and I just asked her, is everything okay? How are we parenting you? What can we improve? What can we change? Are you happy? And everything else. She told me the daughter broke down. She didn't say a word. The daughter just broke down for 30 straight minutes. So that lady had to call off from work the following day, and she called in a counselor somewhere around Nairobi Hospital, from what she told me. And when she showed up with the girl, the doctor told her, we are not letting you go back with this girl. She's in full-blown depression. And the girl had to stay in that facility for 2 straight weeks, where they had to pay 10,000 every day, 10,000 for 2 straight weeks. What if she hadn't started the session where firstborn, on a Mondays with firstborn 30 minutes, something would not have they would not have diagnosed what was eating the quiet girl that seemed like everything is okay. Mommy comes home, she's just cooking, busy, quiet, and all those things. So even the quietness has something, but see where it started. It started from an ordinary coaching session. So submit yourselves to a coach, to a counselor, just for the walking journey, because parenting, nobody has it all together. We are unfolding these things. We have different stakes, you have different insights, you have different experiences, and God has endowed us differently. So when we walk a journey as a family, we are able to diagnose these things. So that for me is the biggest thing. Create an intentional schedule for every child to feel valued, important, and like they have a personal relationship with you. No, you're not just looking at them as a blanket approach group kind of, oh, these are my kids. No, every child is very different in their personality, what they are thinking, what they are deciding, what they are planning about their life, how their social life is going, their decision, whether they're bullying, things that are starting among families. Because I've had a situation where a Form 2 reported to school, and within the first week, a suicide note was found in her desk. A very quiet girl, very tiny. And then when she was rushed, brought for attention, she told me that it's because the younger girl, this is a Form 2, but it's because the younger girl at class 5 with whom they share the room is always insulting her, threatening to kill her, and all that. So the young one was very stout, really built, and all that. And so eventually, when the young one was brought, and I found my own way of indirectly asking what is going on, she told me it's because she believes she's ugly, and she believes the older sister, who is very tall and brown, gets all the attention in the estate. So you see, she's busy projecting hatred and anger on the innocent, beautiful, taller sister, sibling things, to a point where the first one is very traumatized, goes to school and writes a suicide note. So when you relate with your child one-on-one, it doesn't have to wait until school opens, okay? So this is how we get into the nitty-gritty to to, how do I say it, mitigate these things that could be cooking uh, without us being aware. So create a plan, be intentional. Listening skills have to be developed where you're genuinely concerned. A child doesn't have to fear like you will condemn them in any way. Let them have the space of respecting you, but also free enough to speak their mind. And it's a whole journey to train yourself. When you start training yourself how to listen today, 6 months from today, you'll not be listening the same way, because it's a muscle you developed. It's not one of those things you say, oh, I'll do active listening, or I'll do passive listening. It's none of that. Are you judging? Are you critical? Are you cutting off their sentences? Do they feel like you're actually listening and focused, or are you switched off, just waiting for them to finish a sentence so that you can give them a piece of your mind that you believe is wiser than all these kids? For me, in my world, I have never believed there's a difficult child. Never.
So I want to go to the very last question before we open it up to Q&A. And to Terry, as a mother to teenagers as well, as children transition into teenagehood, what are some of the things you find parents often need to learn and unlearn in terms of parenting their teens? If you can give us just maybe two of each real quick, so that we can give the audience some time to also ask questions as well.
Thank you for that, Francisca. I think active listening was one of them, and Lillian has spoken about that. But I would say respect autonomy. You know, teenagers, as they go into teenage, they want their own space, they want independence, they want opportunity to make their own decisions. Don't be the parent who is always trying to make decisions and bail out your child in every situation, you know. And that is one thing we need to learn, that teenagers also need autonomy, and they're growing. And that's why life coaching helps, because you're training them, or they are coached to make decisions, to manage situations, to manage change. And so give them that autonomy and the respect. Remember, respect is earned. So it's important that we also respect our teenagers, but be there, listen, be available, be present as a parent. Number two, I would say adaptability. Be willing to adjust your parenting styles. You know, some of us who are raised, Lillian mentioned military style. Some parents who are very, you know, they were never there, they were never available. Personally, I was in boarding school from age 9, you know, so I didn't grow up with my parents. And so it's important not to just pick, you know, plug and play, pick everything how we were raised. And we either want to be extreme, not raise our children that way. And so we want to give them everything on this earth that we can as parents, because we want to compensate for the failures of our parents. Or sometimes we want to, you know, remind them that I was thoroughly beaten and I did not die. So I can beat you anyhow. So we need to be careful not to impose on our children what was done to us. And Lillian talked about that. So adjust your parenting styles as your child grows, or as your teenagers grow. Be adjusting. What do you need to unlearn? Micromanagement. Don't micromanage your children. You want to be there every step. At school, you want to control everything they are doing. You want to determine what course they should study in life, what they should become. No, give them the space to be the best version of themselves. If your daughter says they want to be a chef, please let them be a chef. The chef, they can be an international chef. So allow your children to be who they were born to be. You know, don't micromanage them and control every space of their lives. You want them to get A grade in everything. And so when your child does not bring an A grade result, you make their life a living hell as a parent. No, not every child will get A. When there are 50 children in a class, there are those who will be number 49 and 50, and it might be your child. They may not be gifted in studies. So give your children space to grow, and then don't overprotect them. That's the last one I'll say. Don't overprotect. their challenges and failures. Let them also learn how to manage or maneuver around those challenges. Yours is to empower them, protect them, give them guidance, but allow them to be responsible, take responsibility for the things that they are doing. For example, don't be the parent who will go and buy exams or buy papers, exam papers for your child to score an A in KCSE. Really, that means you're teaching your child already, you can buy your way into anything, you can be corrupt. So let's allow our children to be who they are. They are human and not doings, as we have been told by Lillian. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And thank you so much, Terry and Lillian, for that. Sorry, we're going a little bit rapid here. I know we have to end at the top of the hour, and we want to give those who have joined a chance to ask questions. Kindly put any questions you have on the chat section. And I'm just seeing, I'm just gonna quickly scroll through. Let me see, a lot of questions around the name of the app. It's Life 360. For those who didn't catch the app that was mentioned. And of course, other parents, if there's apps that you're using, feel free to share it on the chat. We have a question here from Gertrude. I have a preteen boy who feels like he's being picked on anytime he's asked to do house chores. I keep encouraging him that he's being helped to be responsible and acquire life skills. So I'm assuming, Gertrude, the question here is, what other advice or approach should a parent take when it comes to encourage their kids to be doing house chores? Maybe Lillian, if you could briefly respond to that one.
I said, right now, there's so many apps that can help us as parents, okay, watch together with your child in terms of the importance of house chores and what it will do in future. So don't relent, no matter the moods that play up. And number two, these teenagers are very smart. They can be very manipulative to make you feel guilty for training them to do house chores, okay? Because should they especially want to fly out, by the age of 18, they're literally running their own houses by themselves. So do not relent. They can be too smart. Use clips to watch, bring in an auntie or visit somebody, some cousin somewhere, and they'll see them doing the house chores. So have an agreed timetable. Over time, these things will become a lifestyle. They'll know when it comes to this level of boundaries, mommy is not negotiating about this one. And when they actually get to do their house chores 2-3 days, get to compliment them, get to encourage it, because they'll feel more motivated and they feel like you're actually acknowledging this and you mean business about them doing house chores. It's not one of those areas you have to negotiate.
Well said there. Thank you, Lillian. And then, and you know, when they see their cousins also doing house chores, they know that it's okay. I'm not the only one, right? They're not being picked on. So perfectly put. And then we have a question here from Rachel. Is boarding school a bad decision choice for our kids? So Terry, you have kids in university, so I'll let you take that one maybe real quick. And for anyone else who has questions, feel free to put them on the chat.
Thank you for that. No, it's not a bad decision choice for our kids, but it depends on your child. So for me, I was in boarding school, all my primary from class 3 to 8, then all high school. My daughters have both been to boarding school, though they didn't manage to stay through. So I had to remove them and take them to a day school. And then my firstborn, who is a son, he went to high school boarding and he enjoyed it. He was okay. So it really depends on the child. Each child is unique in the way they react or handle situations. So just check. Don't compare your child. Don't just say your brother went to boarding school, so you must go to boarding school. It may not work out for the girl, or it may not work out for the boy. So make an informed decision. Whatever boarding school you're taking your child, be there as a parent to see, talk to the student, to the teachers, check the rooms, check the institution, how is it, check the, and not just the quality that they get A grades. No, that's actually not the main thing. How are the facilities? What's the environment like? How do they treat children? So get information, make an informed decision before you take your child to that boarding school, but also discuss with your child. Sometimes you have no option as a parent. You're trying to juggle many things. Maybe you're a single parent and you don't know what else to do. You have to take them to boarding school. just do your due diligence on that boarding school or whichever that you're thinking to take your child to before you take them, if you really have to, because some it's because of the circumstances. So I would say it's not a bad decision choice. It depends. And when you realize your child does not take it well, they are struggling, please remove them. Don't keep them there and tell them they must finish. No, no, no. Just remove them, look for an alternative. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And I agree with you there. Just understanding your child, knowing if your child, there are children who fit well in boarding, there are those who don't. But also, more importantly, do your due diligence. Take some time to actually visit the school. Talk to parents who've had kids in those schools and find out what's the school structure, what's the school culture. Are there instances of bullying? What is actually happening in that particular school before you make a decision? And also speak to a child, find out how they're coping if you do take them to that school. If it's not working for them, pull them out. So really great nuggets there. And then I have a question here from Mudoni on parents who are not on the same page when it comes to parenting, right? What advice would you have? And I think maybe Terry, I'll ask you to take this one. What advice would you have for parents? I'm assuming that both parents are not on the same page when it comes to parenting their kids. And maybe really briefly.
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say most importantly, don't argue in front of the children about the different style of how you're handling your children. So you might find one parent is very free, they will give their children anything they ask. The other one is a bit disciplinarian. They want their child to, do certain things before they give them this. Discuss with your spouse. Really discuss, even if you don't agree. Sometimes you don't agree. Check, how is it affecting your child? And then discuss on that basis, but never disagree on the style in front of your children. Or never argue or have a conflict situation as parents, as adults, in front of your children. That is one thing you must avoid by all means. And then when you realize your spouse maybe has done something for the children and you're not in agreement with, don't punish the children for it or scold, blame the children about it. No, 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 no. Discuss with your spouse, not with the child. So it's important that you keep the conversation going, even if you don't necessarily agree on everything. Keep the conversation growing. Come to a mid-level point on how to parent based on the different situations that you're handling. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And then we will go to Coach Lillian. I see a question here from Rose. I have an 18-year-old daughter in campus second year. I have noticed she has pierced herself so much, nose, belly button, and all over her ears. And she also has 3 tattoos, but she's very disciplined and very obedient. Should I be worried? So Lillian, also, if you could just share your thoughts there real brief.
I would say she's either trying to fit in. Maybe she has a circle of friends who think this is it, this is how to look cool. Okay, she doesn't want to miss out. Or it could be an outward expression of an internal maladjustment when it comes to settling in her identity as to who she is. So it's either identity or expression of internal turmoil, internal pain and conflict she's having to deal with and expressing it outside with tattoos and piercings, or she's just trying to fit in. So that's a louder expression, especially now if the tattoos are many, the piercings are becoming many. We don't know by the time she's done with 4th year, where else will not have been pierced, okay? And this could end up jeopardizing her opportunities in terms of future careers and just general perspective. So you want to develop or create a moment to just talk to her or get her to talk to a coach or a counselor. Should you notice anything, you may not have to be direct about, oh, these tattoos are bad or anything else. No. But find a reason for her to just have a casual talk. You could end up possibly unearthing something, because you see, mothers, you need to follow through your instinct. You're very much on spot, but when you sense something, I've noticed a lot of people dismiss. So it's good you're bringing it up. And I would say, yes, there has to be something deeper, that by the time she's second year, there are piercings and 3 tattoos already, which you're probably thinking they weren't there when she was in high school. So something has started happening, and we don't know what's underneath that iceberg. Okay, so you want to create anything, use a circumstance to get her around a coach, to get her around a counselor, even if it's the first reason you're getting is not just about the tattoos. You create a circumstance, and so you'll end up unearthing something deeper. Follow through that instinct. Something is happening there. You know, as coaches, we follow curiosity, and mothers have that natural instinct. So please follow through that. I'm sure something is going on. It's not what we are able to address on the surface. Matter of fact, when parents bring in kids, there's what they've told me, there's what the kids are saying. But now when we begin to go through layer by layer, we end up unearthing other things at the core of it all. And now we're able to find out what tools to use for what we've just discovered to be the inner cause of what's on the outer surface. So find something, dig a little bit deeper, and even with prayer, God will lead you to something.
Wonderful. Please continue to place your questions on the comment section. But I do know that we have 3 minutes remaining. So we have some testimonials from our budding leaders. One who said, I became very courageous and confident after joining the budding leaders. I am now able to speak up with no fear of judgment. We have another budding leader who said, I have been focused in my studies this term. I used to think that math is hard, but I built my confidence and got 72%, which is a big improvement from 42. I also joined football club and I love school more. And of course, we always want to hear from the parents as well. So we have one parent who said, before my daughter joined the budding leaders, she used to have anger issues which strained our relationship. After mentorship, she is more accommodating. She has also become more organized and focused. She told me her personality is a planner. So thank you so much, everyone, for all the questions that you have. You are free to drop from the call. We will consolidate and collect all of the questions, and then we will share back the responses to the ones we didn't get a chance to answer. Otherwise, thank you so much, everyone. And yes, you're free to drop.